Herkese merhabalar. Connect UK World Class webinar serimize hoş geldiniz. Dünyanın en iyi Birleşik Krallık üniversitelerini ağırladığımız webinar serimizde bugün bir diğer değerli üniversitemiz Oxford Brookes Universitesinden yetkilimiz Lucy Hendry ile bir araya geleceğiz. Öncesinde sözü yetkilimiz Lucy'ye bırakmadan önce çok kısa British Education Bureau'dan, BEB'den bahsetmek isterim. Sonrasında sözü Lucy'ye bırakacağım. Sonunda da sizden gelen soruları, chatbox ve el butonuyla sorduğunuz soruları sunumun sonunda yetkilimizle birlikte cevaplandırıyor olacağız. Ben İmran Mehmet bu arada, eğitim uzmanı olarak görev alıyorum BEB'de. Şöyle çok kısa bahsetmek gerekirse firmamızdan, çok pardon. BEB'den bahsetmek gerekirse Oxford Brookes Universitesi'nin Türkiye'deki resmi temsilciliğini yapan bir kurumuz. Temsil ettiğimiz üniversitelerin Türkiye'deki tanıtımlarına destek sağlıyoruz. Üniversitelerin Türkiye'deki organizasyonlarını gerçekleştiren kuruluşuz. 2002 yılında Oxford'da kurulduk ve İngiliz ve Türk ortaklarımız, kuruculara sahibiz. 20 yıldır İstanbul, Ankara, İzmir olmak üzere Türkiye'deki 3 büyük şehrimizde öğrencilerimize hizmet sağlıyoruz. Uzmanlık alanımız tamamen İngiliz Birleşik Krallık eğitim sistemidir. Üniversitelerin giriş şartları, başvuru süreçleri gibi tüm aşamalar boyunca öğrencilerimize danışmanlık hizmeti sağlıyoruz. Tüm danışmanlık ekibimiz Birleşik Krallık eğitim sistemine hakim. Bu konuda sürekli olarak eğitim alan bir yapıya sahibiz. Birleşik Krallık'ta İngiltere, İskoçya, Galler ve Kuzey İrlanda olmak üzere bu 4 ülkedeki toplam 130 tane üniversitenin biz 90'ının Türkiye'deki resmi temsilciliğini yapan kuruluşuz. Temsilciliğini yaptığımız üniversiteler için de ücretsiz danışmanlık hizmeti sağlıyoruz. Webinar serimiz kapsamında farklı üniversiteleri ağırlamaya devam edeceğiz. Bizi web sitemiz üzerinden, Instagram ve Facebook sayfalarımız üzerinden takip edebilirsiniz. Aynı zamanda İstanbul, Ankara, İzmir'deki ofislerimize de Lefkoşa'da aynı şekilde bu numaralardan ulaşabilirsiniz. Ben sözü şimdi okul yetkilimiz Lucy Hendry'e bırakıyorum. Ardından da gelen soruları birlikte yanıtlıyor olacağız. Thank you, Lucy. It's yours now.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction. Hello, everyone. Merhaba. İyi akşamlar. It's really nice to be here with you. I am Lucy from Oxford Brookes, and I'm the person who is our main contact for students who are applying from Turkey to come and study with us. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about our university, about Oxford Brookes, what you can study and what the student life will be like when you're studying with us. So I'm going to share with you a presentation, and hopefully this will give you a little bit of information about the university. I'm also going to take some questions at the end of the session. So if you have some things that you would like to ask specifically, or anything that you would like to ask that comes up during the session, please do feel free to type that into the chat box as we go along, and I'll come to that at the end as well. If you're not able to, if you don't feel confident writing in English, you can always write it in Turkish, and BEB will help to translate that as well. So don't worry if you can't write everything in English. So I want to start by telling you a little bit about Oxford Brookes and where the university is. So I'm sure that many of you have heard of Oxford as a city. Maybe some of you have visited the UK, you've visited Oxford before. If you have visited the UK, do tell us in the chat box, type into the chat box where you visited. It would be great to know where you've been in the UK. But we are based in the city of Oxford, so you can see on the map, hopefully, right at the bottom, there's a big star that says Oxford. We're in the south of the UK, and it is 1 hour away from London. So it's a very convenient location to get to London. But Oxford itself is a very beautiful city. It's a student city above anything else. So it's a really great place to study because it has a great history in academia, in culture, and lots of other things as well. So we do have 2 universities in the same city. We have Oxford University, which is the very old historic university, and we have Oxford Brookes University, which is ourselves. We are the modern university in the city, the young university, so we're less than 50 years old. We began life as a school of arts, and then we became a university less than 50 years ago, but we are the top modern university in the UK, so we have a great reputation in our own right. As I said, Oxford is a student city, so we have a lot of young people in the city. 1 in 4 adults living here are actually students, which means there's loads of things that you can get involved in, loads of activities, loads of ways for you to meet people as well. But on top of it being a kind of really fun and sociable place to live, it's also great for progressing your career opportunities and prospects. So Oxford is a centre for industry and enterprise. So we have a lot of businesses that are based in the city. That's also thanks to our location being close to London. So we are kind of the Silicon Valley of the UK. So we have lots of technology companies, computing, business, science, research, and a number of other industries, and also the motorsport industry. So lots of great connections. The other benefit of being in the same city as Oxford University is, as an Oxford Brookes student, you can still access a couple of the Oxford University facilities. So one of these is the famous Bodleian Library, which you may or may not have heard about. It's a library that has access to every published book in the UK, and that's owned by Oxford University. And also the Oxford Union is a famous debating society where very well-known names, very well-known politicians or heads of companies or leaders within particular industries are invited to speak to students and to contribute. And Oxford Brookes students also have the opportunity to join that club. It's a paid membership, but you have the opportunity to join that as well, which is exclusive to Oxford and Oxford Brookes students. So that's a real great benefit to being in the same city. A little bit more about the institution. So as I already mentioned, we have a great reputation. We're the top modern university in the UK, but we also have a good reputation with teaching. So we're second in the UK among young universities for teaching. And we have a good reputation in a number of specific subject areas. And when you do look to choose your university, I would recommend that if you want to look at rankings, you look particularly at the subject-specific rankings, because this has the most meaning when it comes to how your course will look like. So we are top 10 in the UK in 3 different subject areas. So that's building, land and property, and occupational therapy. But we're also among the world's top in 13 subject areas. And that includes things like healthcare, architecture, engineering, business, and a number of other courses. We have a good reputation for students who are graduating and finding work after they complete their studies with us. So 95% of our students go straight into employment or into further study within those first 6 months of graduating. And we do, of course, now have a great scheme in the UK, which is a graduate route visa that allows you to stay in the UK for up to 2 years after you complete your studies and look for work. So there's lots of good opportunities to find work, not just abroad when you go back home, but also more opportunities to look for work in the UK. And we also have an international student mix. So about 17% of all of our students are from outside of the UK, and we have students from around 140 different countries, including lots of students from Turkey and other parts of the world. So just a couple of pictures here you can see of the city. And as I already explained, it's such a great place to live, and it's full of history and culture and rich heritage. And because it's an international city as well, there's lots of opportunities for you to understand different cultures and to make international friends as well. So just a few pictures on the far, I think it's left of the screen. I think it's in reverse for me. You can see the Pitt Rivers Museum and Natural History Museum. You can see the Ashmolean Museum, and you can also see the river. So we have a beautiful river, and that leads all the way into the city. And lots of students like to do an activity called punting, which is where you stand on the boat that you can see there. It's a very flat boat and you navigate through the river with a long pole. So that's something that is very traditional for Oxford and also for Cambridge. So those are the two cities you will find that activity. As an international student, I'm sure you have some questions about life in the UK and immigration and visas and how that will all work. Of course, BEB can help you with that process before you arrive. But once you get to the UK, we do also have an international student advice team, and they are there to support you and to help you out. So they can help with giving you visa advice before you arrive, but also during your studies. If you have questions, if you want to know how many hours you can work per week, for example, doing a part-time job, they can help support you. They have a social program for international students, and they also have a global buddy scheme where you can be paired up with somebody who is a current student at the university, and they will help show you around the city and around the university. And it's great to have somebody that you can connect with straight away to help show you the ropes. So what can you study with us? So we have 4 main faculties at the university. So we have the business school, the Faculty of Health and Life Sciences, Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, and the Faculty of Technology, Design and Environment. Within those, there are lots of different schools with different subject areas, but we really offer quite a broad range of subjects. Our business school is probably the biggest school that we have, and we have a lot of different combinations that you can study. So you could study, for example, a business and management course, and you can also tailor that course to your particular interests. So you can add different modules, different subjects within that to cater to your interests. That could be marketing, it could be events, it could be economics or finance. Alternatively, you can actually choose to have a degree that specializes even more in one particular area. So if you're interested in entrepreneurship and setting up your own business, or you're interested in marketing communications, you can tailor that course and you can choose a course that is specific to that particular area. We also have a great reputation within hospitality, and we have a School of Hospitality and Management where you can take a program there. The benefit of our business school is we have loads of work placements, and I will talk a bit more about work placements later, but we have lots of opportunities for you to take an integrated work placement. If you're studying a bachelor degree, instead of studying for 3 years, it means your course is 4 years in total, and you go and work in a relevant company or industry for a year, and you get paid to do it. So that's all part of your course. And we have that option available for lots of our courses, but particularly in the business school. And if you are a postgraduate student, we do also have a number of integrated options, including work placements as well for postgraduate students in the business school. Within health and life sciences, particularly popular courses with students from Turkey include psychology. So we really focus on particularly child development and learning development when it comes to our psychology department. And we have lots of other related programs. So although we don't offer a medical school, we offer medical related degrees such as biological sciences, biomedical sciences. And Oxford is a really great place for science research and technology. And we have also sports sciences as well within that one. Moving on to humanities and social sciences, so international relations is always very popular as a subject, and you can combine that with politics or criminology or lots of other subject areas. And we have lots of other soft skill subjects as well, such as history, philosophy, languages, and more. So there's a really wide variety that you can study within our School of Humanities. And lastly, technology, design and environment. We're particularly well known for architecture. So we have RIBA accredited and ARB accredited courses in architecture. We offer part 1 and part 2 if you are looking to qualify under the British system. And we also have a School of Arts where we offer more creative subjects, including theatre and fine art, and engineering and built environment courses and computing as well. So all of those programs, we have a great reputation, particularly in, for example, motorsport engineering. And I will just move quickly on to the next slide, which is about motorsport engineering. So when you're looking at choosing a degree, you want to look for something that is going to really set your course apart from other people. So other graduates who might have studied the same course. And courses at Oxford Brookes are very career focused. We have good connections with industry, and that's something that we think is really important, particularly for students who are from overseas, because that means that you develop the skills that you need to be competitive when you are applying for jobs at the end. So an example here is our motorsport engineering course. So Oxford Brookes actually has graduates who are working in every single Formula One team in the country. And that's thanks to the reputation of our motorsport program. We have industry donated equipment and industry standard equipment as well, actually at the university. So it's a very practical, hands-on course. So that's something that as an employer, you might be looking specifically to universities such as Oxford Brookes when you look to recruit new graduates onto your team, because you're looking for students who have that experience. So that's something that we can offer. So now on to the important part, which is funding. I'm sure that's something that you are here and curious to know about. So UK tuition fees do vary widely. So depending on the course that you're studying and depending on the university that you're studying at. So I've got here a chart which shows you generally the range of tuition fees. So at the lowest end of the scale, you might be expecting to pay around £10,000 per year. And at the upper end of the scale, it could be even up to about £38,000 per year. At Oxford Brookes, our tuition fee is on the lower end of the scale. So our fees range from around £14,600 to £17,100. That includes undergraduate and postgraduate courses. Postgraduate courses tend to be typically on the higher end of that, and undergraduate courses, bachelor degrees, are on the lower end between 14 to 16,000. So you can see that you get great value for money in terms of the fees at Oxford Brookes compared to other UK universities that you might be considering. In addition to having competitive fees, we also have an international scholarship available for students. So we have a scholarship of £2,000, and that's available to students who accept an offer from us and pay their deposit by the deadline that we give. So we have a number of courses available to start in January. So if you are interested in starting both a bachelor degree or a postgraduate master's degree in January, we have a number of courses available. Mostly they're in the business school, but we have one or two other courses as well. And we also have the majority of our courses that start in September. So if you're starting a course in January, your deadline will be the 15th of November to be accepting an offer. So if you haven't applied yet and you're keen to apply for January, get that application in soon. If you are applying for September, then your deadline is the 15th of April to be able to qualify. And I should explain that you don't need to already meet all of your offer conditions and complete your qualification to qualify for this scholarship. You just need to accept an offer, could be a conditional offer, and pay your deposit before that deadline. So there's more information available on our website as well if you're interested. So a little bit about work placements. As I mentioned, we have a lot of courses which offer integrated work placement years. The good news about work placements is that if you are studying with us on a visa, your visa will cover you for the duration of your work placement. So when you apply to us, we would make an offer for you which includes that placement. So you'll be issued with a visa that covers you for 4 years if you're studying a bachelor degree instead of 3 years. This means that you don't need to apply separately for another type of visa when you're taking your work placement, because you'll be covered under that one. We do have good connections with a lot of different industries at Oxford Brookes, and we also have a specific placements team called Waves, and they are there to help you with your search. So we don't find the placement for you, but we do work very closely with you and with the placement team to help you in your application process. So when you are applying, we will help you with your interview skills and with your application, and we'll connect you to the right employers and give you more guidance about where to look. So we've had lots of placements recently. Some of those include companies like BMW, F1 Ferrari, Four Seasons Hotel, IBM, Microsoft, Warner Brothers, and more. So we have some big names there. Hopefully you recognize one or two of those ones. Another option we have is mentoring. So mentoring is an opportunity to connect with somebody who is working in your industry. So if you're interested in hospitality, for example, we will connect you with somebody who is working within that tourism or hospitality industry. You can connect in two different ways. So you can connect in a very informal kind of temporary way. So we have an ask a question function, or Brookes Connections, which is a kind of one-off question or a very short-term e-mentoring scheme. We also have longer schemes, so we have schemes that are specific to different courses such as hospitality, real estate, education, sports. And we have an enterprise support scheme of 10 months, so it's slightly longer, which connects you up with business entrepreneurs. And we have the opportunity as well for you to pitch your own entrepreneurial ideas if you have your own idea, and you can actually bid for funding to set up and start your own company, your own business, if you're successful in that bid. So the benefits of doing a placement, it means that you get a paid work opportunity during your studies. So when you graduate, you've already had a year's worth of study, and that looks great when you're applying on your CV. Lots of employers now are looking not just for education, but for experience. You also may make connections that help you find your graduate job. So some students are able to return to the place where they did a placement, a work placement, and actually get a graduate job. You have the opportunity to enhance your skills, so analytical skills, communication skills, just to develop that confidence in working in the real world, in a working setting, and just to get the experience within the industry. So sometimes work placements are really important because they tell you what you don't want to do as much as they tell you what you do want to do. So you might discover an area that you're not interested in, but you realise you're interested in working in a different part of the industry. So they're very important for a number of different reasons. So moving on to accommodation and extracurricular. So studying at university is about so much more than just your academic studies. There's a lot more to your whole experience at the university. So accommodation, if you are a first year student, undergraduate or postgraduate, we can guarantee you a place in one of our halls of residence, as long as you apply within all of the deadlines that we set for you. We have 10 different halls of residence. Most of these are self-catered, so you have your own shared kitchen with a few other people who are living in your flat, and you might have your ensuite bathroom, or you might have a shared bathroom depending on which option you choose. You also have utilities, so all your bills and internet are included, and you get a Brookes bus pass, which means you get discounted travel on the regular buses, and you get free travel on our Oxford Brookes buses. So it's a really great way to meet people. You will meet and make friends with people in your flat, and also it takes away the pressure of you needing to find your own accommodation before you come to the UK. So our accommodation options are dotted around different parts of the city, but all of them are connected by bus or by walking. Oxford is a small city, so you can walk most places you need within 30 to 40 minutes maximum. Lots of our accommodation options are about 10 or 20-minute walk away. We have a Brookes union, so this is a students' union. A union is something that is run by students for students. So we have a voting system, much like you might get in a political system. So you can vote for your president and the secretary and lots of other positions, and they will be students as well that are joining in with that. There's over 100 different clubs you can join. The primary purpose of these societies, or clubs as we call them, is social. So it's a great way to meet people. So we have a Turkish society, for example, we have a tea society, Harry Potter society, and more. But the Students' Union can also provide you with advice about your housing, about financial advice, well-being, and other campaigns. And it gives you a voice back to the universities. So the union represents the student voice, and it means that for staff working at the university, we get to hear your opinion, and we get to hear the things that are important to you and the things we need to change. And lastly, the sports. So we have a lot of different sports teams that you can join. Here's just a snapshot of some of our available clubs. So if you are interested in joining sports, we have teams that are competitive. So they compete against other UK teams, and you can do a tryout to get into those teams. And we also have some that are purely just social as well, that are run as societies. So as you can see, lots of different options. Rowing is our most well-known sport. So we have lots of Team GB Olympic athletes that actually come from our rowing team. And we also have things like football, rugby, cycling, and other sports, as you might expect. So I'll touch very briefly on the application process, but of course this is something that BB can help you with anyway. But just to talk you through what you might expect and what you might need from the application process. So you can apply through an agent, you can apply directly, but when you apply, you do need to give us some information about yourself, about what you're studying. So the things that we would expect to have from you would be your qualifications, so proof of what you're studying or what you have already studied. We need to see proof of your English language skills, if English is not your first language, so that's typically an IELTS, but it could be a different qualification as well. We need a personal statement from you. A personal statement tells us why you are a good student, why we should consider you for that course, and a reference from someone who knows you academically. So ideally that's from a teacher or someone who knows you in an academic setting. When you do apply to us, if we're able to make you an offer, you'll get one of two types of offers. So you'll get probably, first of all, you'll get a conditional offer, and that's the most common type of offer. It means that we've given you a place, but you have some additional requirements that you need to meet before our deadline in order to accept your offer and to actually enroll at the university. Usually this would be to complete your qualifications. So that might be if you're still studying your high school, you need to complete your high school qualification with a particular grade. It might be an English language qualification if you apply before you've completed your English language qualification. And it might be sending in additional information, translation of documents and other things like that, plus paying a deposit. Usually international students pay a deposit of £3,000. An unconditional offer is once you've met all of that criteria and you're ready to actually start the next process and accept your place. Usually that's the point where you can start your visa process as well. And these are generally the entry requirements that we look for Turkish students. Undergraduate, your high school diploma, we accept from 70% upwards on the whole, although we do have some foundation courses as well available if you haven't quite met that grade. And the postgraduate, we look for a GPA of 2.4 to 2.6 overall. There are sometimes subject-specific requirements. So for architecture, for example, you will require a portfolio. For other courses, such as engineering or science courses, we will look for a specific grade in your science or your maths qualifications. But those are the overall qualifications you can expect. And we do have a page on our website where you can have a look and see all of those entry criteria in a bit more detail. So if you want to find out more, you have contacts through BEB, but you can also have a look on our website. We have loads of information there. So you can get insider knowledge by chatting to our students. So we have a number of international student profiles that you can read on our website. And we also have live chat available through our website. So if you navigate to the web page, you'll have a little pop-up that you see which says chat to us, and you can chat to your current student, or you can find a student who is studying the subject that you're interested in, and you can ask them some questions. So that's a really good way to get some real kind of student knowledge. You can also take a virtual tour. So we have virtual tours available on our main website. If you search for virtual tours, you'll find it, and you can see all of our different campuses and have a look around. You can also see a recorded tour on our YouTube channel. So we have lots of videos available on YouTube, including campus tours of all of our facilities as well. So that's a really great place to start if you want to look at more information. And then lastly, you can contact me. So I am the main contact for Europe and Turkey, and you're very, very welcome to reach out to me. You can also have a look on our social media channels, and that gives you a little bit of an insight and a flavour of the university as well. But that's it from me. So I'm going to stop here and ask if there are any questions.
Thank you very much, Lucy, for the great presentation. There are already some questions. First of all, how many years is the architecture course, and is there any portfolio requirement for this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the architecture course is split into two parts. So part one is the equivalent to a bachelor degree. So that is a 3-year course. And then part two is your postgraduate program, and that is 2 years. So in total, that's 5 years of studying. Now, with architecture in the UK, usually students would expect to qualify in about 7 years. So that is because you need additional work experience in order to be able to complete that qualification. So what lots of students do is they will study for 3 years, the first part, and then they might go and work for 1 year, maybe 2 years in an architectural firm, and then they come back and complete those extra 2 years. There are 3 parts that you need to do to be able to qualify. So 3 exams, 3 qualifications that you need to get. We offer part 1 and part 2. Those are the academic ones. Part 3 is usually taken alongside kind of work experience. We do have some opportunity to help you also towards part 3, but part 1, 2 are the main kind of academic courses that you'll study. So generally, academically, 5 years. In total, you should expect about 7 years. In terms of the portfolio, yes, we do ask for a portfolio. That is probably the most important part actually of our architecture course and the application. So the portfolio is, we have a lot of guidance on the website, but what we're looking for is to see your creative ability, to see your design skills. We want to see your kind of personality come through your design. We don't expect you to already be familiar with how to use lots of different software or how to design structurally competent buildings, but we obviously want to see that you have the artistic ability and the drawing skills and other things like that. And we can see clearly that where you gain inspiration from and why you're particularly interested in pursuing a career in architecture. That should be evident through your portfolio. But we've got lots of information on the website and a portfolio guide as well. If you go to our architecture page, you can find the portfolio guidance on there. Hopefully that's helpful.
Thank you very much. And another question is there any branch for pharmacy that Oxford Brookes University can offer?
Unfortunately, we don't have a pharmacy course. So your best bet would be, if you really want to pursue pharmacy, is to find a different university, and that's the same for medicine actually. So we don't offer medicine either. We don't offer dentistry, pharmacy or medicine. But if you are interested in scientific research and you're more interested in biological sciences, genomics, genetics, medical sciences, from a research perspective, then you could certainly study at Oxford Brookes, and we do have those courses available.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Is there a physics or astrophysics program for undergraduates?
Unfortunately, we also don't have a physics program. So our main focus when it comes to sciences are related sciences to physics. So that would be on the engineering side. Physics is always useful as a background to study engineering. Or alternatively, we have biological sciences. We don't really offer chemistry or physics as set subjects. We do have a mathematics course though. Mm-hmm.
Similar question, is there a medicine facility and what are the requirements for it?
Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, unfortunately, we don't have a medicine department.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I'm checking whether there are more questions.
If you have any other questions that you want to ask, do feel free to put them into the chat box. It can be about subject areas if you want a little bit more information, or it can be about life in Oxford, life as an international student, the application process or visa process. I'm happy to answer any of those questions. So I think while we're waiting, I'll maybe give a little bit of an overview about the visa process and what that will look like. I think it's always useful to be prepared and to understand what you might need to prepare for that. So with the visa process, as I mentioned earlier, when you have an unconditional offer, so you've met all of your conditions, you've got your qualifications, you've paid a deposit, that's the point where you can start your visa application process. What you need to be able to apply for your visa is you need something called a CAS, CAS, that's Confirmation of Acceptance for Studies. And that is something that we can provide you as a university. So because we are a registered sponsor with the UKVI, which is the UK Visas and Immigration Office, it means that we can provide a number. It's effectively just one number that you need to include as part of your visa application. And that tells the visa office that you are a genuine student and that you've got an offer from us and you meet the criteria. In order to get that CAS, we need to check some documents from you. So normally we ask you to send us an information form telling us a bit about yourself, about whether you've had a visa before, where you're applying from. And then we also check your bank statements, your financial evidence. So to apply for a visa and to get approval, you need to show that you have the relevant funds available. So you need to have your tuition fees for 1 year and your maintenance fees for 1 year available in a bank account. And you need to be able to provide evidence of that that's also translated into English. We do have lots of information on our website, which tells you the format and the things that are needed, but we normally recommend that you would allow a few months to complete that process. So it's worth making sure that you do have the money available a little bit earlier before you want to start that process. Generally, we can start issuing CAS from April or May. Most students will complete and get an unconditional offer around May or June. So that's when you really need to be making sure that you have provided and completed that financial evidence. I think we've got
yes, there are more questions. One of them is, if someone has A-level certificates, is IELTS required?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So if you're taking A-levels, it depends on which A-level subjects you're taking. So if you were taking A-levels in computer science, maths and physics, for example, we would not be able to accept that instead of English. That's because those subjects are largely very technical based, they're mathematically based. So it's not an appropriate equivalent to taking an IELTS exam. If you're taking a subject in English literature, in psychology, in history, something like that, we could accept those ones because those are largely essay-based subjects, so they involve a lot of writing and reading, and those are the subjects that we are able to accept. There's obviously lots more, so don't take just those ones as the ones you can accept. But if you think that you may qualify and you are taking A-levels, please just send those to us and we will be able to tell you if we can accept those. Generally, we'd look for a grade C or higher to be able to accept that instead of English. If you've taken GCSEs, IGCSEs, a lower level, for example, we can also accept that. So English as a first language or second language at grade C, we can accept that for your IGCSE. And if you're taking the IB, so IB diploma or just IB courses, we can accept English from your IB at grade 4 or higher. So there are lots of qualifications we can accept instead of IELTS.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Another one, is there any chance for the students to work in the campus while studying as extra income?
Yes, definitely. So when you're studying on a student visa, you can usually work for up to 20 hours per week part-time. And then outside of term time, you can increase those hours and work full-time when it's not during the term time. We have lots of opportunities on campus for you to work. So we have, for example, restaurants and cafes where you can get some work opportunities and shops, but you can also apply for more casual work as a student ambassador. That's what a lot of our students do. And how that works is every time there's an event that takes place, such as an open day or a webinar or something like that, where somebody in the university would like some student support, you can apply to be considered as a student ambassador and you get paid an hourly rate for that. So you might be paid for a full day, it might be just a 1 hour session. It really depends, and you have complete control over which ones you accept and which ones you don't. So that's quite appealing for lots of students because it means that you don't have a set contract each week for how many hours you need to work. So if you have a busy week 1 week and you don't think you have time, you don't need to accept jobs. And if you have a less busy week, you can accept more jobs. You can also work off campus as well. So there's lots of opportunities off campus, again, mostly shops, cafes, bars, restaurants, those kind of places. And you have the opportunity to do that. Same number of hours as well, 20 hours per week. Just to note, the 20 hours does include voluntary work, so non-paid work. So if you are also doing anything that is volunteering, that counts as part of your 20 hours. So you have to just make sure you balance that well.
Thank you. Another question is, can I do my postgraduate education on cognitive or neuropsychology course?
Okay, so we do have a postgraduate psychology program. The program that we offer at postgraduate is more of a conversion program. So if you wanted to continue working in the UK, for example, and you needed BPS accreditation, so British Psychological Society accreditation, you might want to take our conversion one-year program, which is basically converting a Turkish qualification into being recognised as a British qualification. But you would still need to, if you want to qualify then to work as a clinical psychologist, for example, within that area, the process in the UK involves a clinical doctorate, which is another 3 years and requires quite a lot of work experience to get onto that program. So the process is a little bit different in the UK compared to Turkey. The course that we offer is quite a generic psychology course. It's not specialized within neuropsychology particularly, although you will obviously study cognitive and neurological psychology as part of the program, as well as developmental and social psychology.
Thank you very much. I think we covered all the questions. Thank you very much once again for the presentation and information, useful information. And we hope to see you in Turkey soon. Fingers crossed.
Yes, thank you for coming. I hope to be in Turkey very soon.
Thank you.
Bye,
Have a great day. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
İyi akşamlar dileriz.